All right, today we're diving into something truly epic. We're going to unravel a story that connects a 700-year-old plague to a wild, conspiracy-fueled future. It's this massive, sprawling saga that really boils down to one chilling question. Think about it for a second. What if those plagues from the history books, what if they never really went away? And what if all the conspiracy theories we hear about today, what if they're not just theories? What if they're actually the groundwork for a future that's, well, darker than we can even imagine? So this whole thing, the Anthropocene Sagas, it's a huge story, but you can really think of it as being built on three main pillars. First, you've got this mythic beginning, set way back during the Black Death. Then it jumps to a super high-stakes thriller happening right now. And finally, it takes this terrifying leap into a dystopian future. So yeah, let's break this whole thing down. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Our journey kicks off almost 700 years ago, right in the middle of a world that's being absolutely consumed by the Black Death. And you gotta understand, this isn't just some backstory or a simple prequel. No, this is the very origin point for everything, and I mean everything, that comes after. So I want you to picture this, right? It's the 14th century. A super rare solar eclipse suddenly darkens the skies over Greenland. Out of nowhere, people see this mysterious dark rider way out on the glacial ridges, and then, right after that, the plague hits. It just tears through this totally isolated community and kicks off a conflict that is literally going to last for centuries. And right at the center of this whole outbreak, there's this massive conflict brewing. On one side, you've got these newcomers who are demanding all this ritual penance, completely fueled by fear and superstition. But on the other side, you have the local healers. They trust what they can see, what they can observe, and they're looking for answers in the natural world. It's that classic, age-old battle, right? Faith versus reason. Now, here's the crucial part. The hero of this story, her name is Leaf, she actually makes a breakthrough. She finds a special herb, something that could be a cure. But in a world that's just drowning in paranoia, her discovery doesn't lead to a celebration. Oh no, it leads to accusations of witchcraft. And this one little herb, it becomes this powerful symbol of hope, but also the catalyst for a conflict that's going to echo for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay, hold on, because now we're going to leap way forward. We're talking present day. And that ancient past, it's about to slam right into our modern world in a seriously terrifying way. So you're probably wondering, how does this ancient plague make a comeback? Well, the answer is climate change. The permafrost starts thawing, and it releases that old plague, only now it's a dangerous new mutation. It starts infecting U.S. Air Force crews, and before anyone can even figure out what's going on, a top-secret U.S. biolab is compromised. Suddenly, the key to the cure and a potential bioweapon is in the worst possible hands. All right, when you're facing a threat this big and this complicated, you're going to need a new kind of hero, or, in this case, a whole team of them. And what's interesting is that they're each fighting a different piece of the exact same war. So first up, we've got Dr. Anja Thorsdottir. She is a totally brilliant professor, and she's right there on the front lines of the scientific battle. I mean, she is literally racing against the clock, trying to understand this new pandemic and figure out how to stop it in its tracks. And this is where the connection across time becomes just crystal clear. Get this. Just like Leaf all those centuries ago, Anja's big breakthrough comes from nature. She finds that exact same ancient herbal remedy, and it's been perfectly preserved in the melting ice of Greenland. So you see, history isn't just repeating itself here. It's actually offering up the solution. Now, while Anja's in the lab fighting the virus itself, we've got Agent Veronica Steele. She's with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and her job is to fight the human conspiracy behind it all. She's the one who has to untangle this massive, messy web of espionage, lies, and political backstabbing. And believe me, they're not just up against one single bad guy. No way. They're facing this whole interconnected network of threats. You've got a shadowy religious leader, this guy Abbot Malvoisier, who's cooking up brain-targeting viruses. Then there's a rogue consortium in Moscow supplying weapons of mass destruction. And on top of all that, a sinister cartel has control of that compromised biolab. It's a lot. So the big question is, what happens if our heroes fail? Well, the final piece of this whole saga shows us exactly that. It's like if the present day is a fight for control, then the year 2034 is what the world looks like when that fight has been completely and utterly lost. And that year, 2034 is no accident. It's a very deliberate nod to Orwell's 1984. Right away, it signals a world of total surveillance, massive government overreach, and a society where, honestly, truth is the first casualty. And who's our main character here? None other than Winston Smith III. Yep, he's the grandson of the hero from George Orwell's classic book. He's living in this super oppressive society, has a job at the so-called Ministry of Interplanetary Affairs, and he's starting to think the official story doesn't add up. So what is this official story he's questioning? Well, they call it the alien narrative. The government's line is that extraterrestrials are secretly in control of society. And of course, this story is the perfect excuse to justify their absolute power and crush anyone who speaks out. But Winston, he suspects it's all a giant lie, a massive fabrication designed to keep humanity in chains. So his mission becomes pretty clear, right? He has to finish what his grandfather started. He has to find the real truth, expose the gigantic lie that his whole society is built on, and risk absolutely everything to try and ignite a revolution. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. We've got a 14th century plague, a modern-day biothriller, and a dystopian future. I know, they might seem like totally separate stories, but they're not. They are all intricately woven together by the same core ideas, the same unifying threads. When you look at it across all these centuries, the same struggles keep popping up. You know, the fight against pandemics and biowarfare, the rise of surveillance and this constant hunger for control, the way conspiracy can just eat away at society. And through it all, that desperate search for what's real, for the truth. It's all in there, and it's all underlined by stuff like the consequences of climate change and that timeless battle between faith and reason. But really, at its heart, this is a story about how resilient people can be when they're up against these massive, overwhelming forces. So this entire saga, right, it takes us from a healer in the 14th century to a scientist today to a rebel in the future. And it leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. In this long, unending fight for the soul of humanity, what's the real enemy? Is it a virus? Is it some shadowy conspiracy? Or is the real battle against the fear that lives inside every single one of us?